So I'm driving today. I have so much time, and I want to be able to give a live coaching to you of how to become an awesome vocal coach for choirs. I'm doing this in accounting. I'm sorry I'm not going to pay attention to you here, but I'm going to be doing this in, and I'm going to let you know. Pulling over real quick. There we go. That's going to stay. There we go. All right. So I'm going to become a vocal coach and clinician I'm going to be a vocal coach and clinician this week for a local county for lots of choirs. And I've done this week, but today I have about 3 more places that I'm going to go to. And so I'm going to teach you how to become a great vocal coach and clinician yourself if you ever wanted to do that for a choir with a director. So here's the deal. When you become a vocal coach or clinician for another chorus that's not yours, you need to make sure that you're paying attention to and loving on people all the time. You're not there to judge other groups. You're not there to like, you need to do better to anybody. You got to just give love, 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 love. And that might seem like a duh, but I've seen coaches and clinicians come in and say, hey, you need to do this better. Or I've seen that happen egotistically. You got to remember, you're a nobody. Nobody's there to see you. Everybody's there to just get loved on. Here's the deal. Your first thing you got to do is you have to make sure that you are jumping in, and because you're a stranger, letting the person know, who's the leader, that you're going to love on them and support their program. So it might seem like a gimme, but that's the first thing you do. And there are 3 types of directors. 1, you can never tell me what to do. I will always be the best. 2, there's a director saying, hey, I want you to come in and teach us everything. There's step on my toes, do whatever. And 3, there's that coach is kind of in the middle there who doesn't know if you're going to threaten their program or not, and they're really apprehensive of having somebody else come in that's better than them. Doesn't matter. You're never, just pretend you're never better than anybody. You're just there to love and support where they need, meet them where they're at. So once you do that, you get in there, and you should, of course, arrive early, looking good. You should match the director there, clothes-wise, of level of professionalism, or be 1 step above. That's really important, because you don't want to look like you just came off the bus and said, hey, I've been sleeping in this bus and here I am. You don't ever want to look like that. And that's usually, if you have like a button down and you have jeans for gentlemen and then dress shoes, there you go. That's what you do. For people who identify as and wear a dress, anybody who wants to wear a dress, that's completely complicated. I can't even get into it. I can't even imagine. It's just easy for dudes. Just be like, dress shirt, boom, jeans, dress shoes. It just dresses everything up. Second thing you need to do when you show up, you act like you're taking notes. Even if you're not, you know exactly what to do. You act like you're taking notes immediately as they're warming up or doing anything at all. That you have to make sure that they know that you're invested. And the way you do that is, if they're going to warm up, the director warms up the choir, and you're not doing it yourself as a coach or clinician, you take notes. I'm like, oh yeah, that. And but you smile, like you smile, like you look at the director, like give him that little look, like yeah, and you just get that little smile, like I'm so happy I'm here. Oh, this is great. The second thing, if you're warming up the course, then what you do is you can have a little notepad out yourself and then just scribble some things down while you're doing warm-ups and doing that. That's really important to do, because it makes you look more professional. And even if you're not, because a lot of times, as me, I know exactly what I'm working on. Within the first 10 seconds of a choir or ensemble singing, I know exactly what I'm going to work on, how to do it, etc. But you need to make sure other people know. It's like when a server comes to your table and they're taking your order and they're like, okay, what would you want? Like, oh, you have this, and they're memorizing it. Good for you. You can memorize stuff. It doesn't matter. People need to know that you have it down. So just write it down for their psychological well-being. So that you've taken care of. They're like, oh, this person's serious. Oh, they're writing down notes. Oh, they're really invested. Then there's that rapport that starts to build. And then after you see them warm the choir up, you're like, I really like that warm-up. I'm really glad you're doing these warm-ups. It's really important that you do it this way. Compliment the director, even if the director does a bad job at warm-ups, even if they're, it's not your job to judge. It's your job to just give love and bring them up another level, wherever that is. If you're doing it, I'm like, there's a lot of great foundation that you have built here with your director. And I can tell already that your director cares about you in that way. I want to say thank you for that. Look at the director, like thank the director. Then the next thing you do after that, you build that rapport. Then the kid's like, I'm going to start trusting this person more. And if they, of course, if the kid's like, sometimes you get that kid that hates the director. You get that sometimes. Or the students that hate, or the choir that hates the director. But when that happens, you still love the director, and then it confuses them, like, maybe there's another adult here saying that, and he seems very professional. He seems to know what he's doing. He's saying that my choir director knows. I don't like it, but I'm going to see where this goes. They kind of give you that golden opportunity of a new shiny object that they're going to pay attention to. Don't lose in that rapport. Just build intensity. Next, after you do that, you're going to then jump right in to hearing their piece of music that they're doing. Don't say like, let's work on this, or let's play with this, or like, don't do some like do not do warm-ups for them and teach them a warm-up that's going to take up the time of them singing their pieces for adjudications or festival, whatever you're working on. Don't do that. I hate when directors come in like, let me teach you a warm-up that's going to take 10 minutes to learn. No, immediately has to be able to be sung. And if you're doing it and they're like not getting it, you need to change warm-ups immediately, but not like, you're not getting this. So I think I need to bump down a level. You need to say like, interesting. The warm-up I had here is not designed for you. I have another one I know it is. Never apologize. If something's not working well, like, interesting. I think I chose a bad warm-up for you. Like, you put it on yourself. And I'm like, because you have a different idea of what sound, and I crafted a warm-up for you to do that. Anyway, make sure you're ready to go with that. The next thing after that warm-up stage, and after they're getting their voices warmed up, and actually they feel good, and after they like, hey, this probably is a great director. Building rapport with the director, giving eye communication, like giving nods, like, all right, I see. Oh, that was a good sound. Rewarding them, because success breeds success. Then what you're going to do is jump into repertoire. They're going to sing immediately. Do not stop them without hearing the full song from beginning to end. And after that happens, depending on how much time, you want to say, hey, I would really right now want to start coaching you. I have some really great low-hanging fruit to be able to that's going to support what your director has always been saying, just said in a different way. But I want to hear it again. If I start coaching you right now, things are going to be fixed automatically because of the masterclass effect. You make sure that they know that the masterclass effect is a real thing. To be honest with you, any coach could say blah, blah, blah after the first song, and the students are already going to fix it. Already going to be to know exactly what to do, because they're getting acclimated with the room again, recalibrated. Don't say anything and coach them right after the first song. Don't do it. Say, I'm going to have you sing the parts again. And as they're singing, you're taking notes vigorously, like smiling, doing that kind of thing. Make it a part of you. Then, when they're singing it again the second time, after you explain to them what the masterclass effect is and why the director's like, oh, this coach really knows what they're talking about. When you go through that again, say, all right, thank you, and cut them off. Do like the whole cut off wave. Look at the director like, maybe I would like to go here with that. And now you have three types of directors. One who wants to always bring them in, always direct them in. If they're a boss director, they're going to want to have more control. Two, you have directors who are completely chaotic. They don't know what they're doing. They're take over. Like, may I conduct him? Ask the students and ask the director. The director first, may I conduct him in? The director says yes, then ask permission from the people. May I conduct you in? Now, if they're a garbage choir, and I say that because of if your choir sucks, you suck, was a podcast that came out a few years ago, and it got a lot of umbrage. And I want to tell you that I am kind of on the line with that if you're not meeting with the choir, that no matter how good or bad you think they are, and how many bad kids are in your class, you have to reevaluate and blame yourself. That's going to make you the best director, whether it's true or not. So I never want to blame the students. I always want to blame the adult in the room that's controlling, because I've seen some really bad kids. Like, are they really bad? They're kids. Anyway, so then you say, may I take over and do a couple of things so the people who don't know what they're talking about, and you take over that chorus, and you have to give them with this caveat. It works like every time for me. Hey, I'm going to give you a story first of all. You want to be in control of your life, right? And the students usually say yes, but they're apprehensive. And you say this. You say, if you want to be here, you're here right now. There's nothing else you can do about it. And could you show up today? Could you show up? If you want to show up, say yes, point to them, and how enthusiastic that yes is. Then you have to go with a story or not a story, but here's the story I give. When I and forced to be somewhere, I never want to let life control me. I control whether or not I'm going to have fun, because life is not the boss of me. I'm the boss of having my own fun. And I think you feel the same way. You ever been dragged out to your parents, a place you don't want to be, and you're miserable the entire time, and you've like really like whining about it? Don't. You have the power to control your own destiny. Be there, be happy. When I was a young kid, my father would bring me out to nursing homes. I don't want to be there while he plays for them for some cash on the side for a side hustle. But you know what? I realized if I was there talking to the older folk and just having fun myself, give them that story, and then they'll have that buy-in, and then all of a sudden they're like, huh, interesting. Yeah, I'm controlled. Like, so if you're here today, right now in the Razors, and you want to show up today, say you want to be in control of your destiny, say yes, boom, and have them say yes. And I'm like, some of you are not convinced, or some of you are just thinking about it, but I'm gonna tell you, like, we're gonna have a time that you can't trade for anything else, and you might as well take control of your destiny. Good for those of you who said yes. Don't be like, you all need to say, do not reprimand them ever. Compliment the students or people who are doing well, and then go on from that. Now, we established the very good versus the choir doesn't know what they're doing, right? Now you're going to jump in and see whether or not you're going to control the choirs coming in parts, or whether the director is. And they could be playing piano for you if you want, and they're a good piano player. If they're not, they could be running parts if like they have a MIDI controlled thing, or where they're playing the parts on a learning, a track, which I fully support of. If a choir director, I've seen really amazing choir directors who are not good piano players, they're good vocalists. They don't have to be both, professional both. And then, so you have them come in those spots where you find that low-hanging fruit where they're going to be most successful. Now, there's two ways that you can do this. The first way, you could say, this wasn't really here. You want to be able to get more of that. That, I find, does the least amount of ability to coach somebody. The second thing you want to do is say, hey, I heard this here. It was amazing. Let's explore that. Let's see if we can make that better. And when you do that and it's made better, the students, the singers are automatically going to make it better just because you told them it was good already. You say, I heard a nice crescendo here, and then a natural decrescendo to really bring out life to it. Let's bring that out more. Let's see what happens if we slow that a little more and do what you're already doing naturally amazingly. And then even if you're lying to them, half-truths with them, they're going to bring out the best that they can, that ability to make that happen. Then, after you do that, they're starting to realize, wow, you stopped and like, do you hear how amazing you sounded there? Like, I really love, like, the audience out there is listening to you. That's a gift you're going to give them. And if you do that more without the rest of the piece, it's going to be fantastic. You have this enthusiastic energy. Don't be like, yeah, that's what we're looking for. Like, we kind of want that. Yeah. You got to build them up and hype them up. Be like, wow, this person's a little more intense. Like, wow. You got to make sure that they feel that that's success. Then, after you do that, you've all of a sudden built their support. Like, this person knows what they're talking about. They know how to feel. Now, I'm going to talk about, and that's if you're finding that students are not doing awesome. The next step, if you have a course in front of you, that's for a course that's not really good. The next step for a course who's absolutely amazing, you're like, I have no idea what to do with this amazing sounding course. I have no idea. Well, here are 3 tricks to make sure that happens. 1, anything that sounds amazing already, the louders can be louder and the softers can be softer. Every time that you see a part in the music that calls for piano or forte, know that the common thing that's always said to choirs is louders can be louder, softers can be softer. Do that. Make sure that they could bring either or, something down or something above. And the way you're going to do that, is that you want to make sure that you're jumping in there with the lens of support and love, no matter what it is. Sorry, my wife's texting me. I'm like, I can't pay attention right now. I'll have to look at it later. You want to make sure that you're jumping in with like, I'm going to make this sound better with emotional integrity. That's the way you make louders louder and softer softer. Not like, do this with your voice, bring this down. You need to be in and out real quick with an effect that has the chorus immediately successful. And the way you do that is you connect the music with real life. What's actually happening in real life. For example, if a part needs to be really soft, you give them this analogy, and they always tend to be the best softs ever. You tell them, this part right here is piano. I heard more of a mezzo forte. It's soft. Why do you think it's supposed to be soft? See if they're able to answer. They're going to give wrong answers at first. They're probably not used to the director talking about emotional integrity. They haven't had time for that. They were too busy teaching notes in technique. So in that sense, you're going to get a couple answers. Here's the answer. If I yell at you and say, I love you, then that's intense. But what if I said, I love you? Emotion more is there. The same thing opposite. If I said, I hate you, and you came back and said, I hate you. Let the chorus know that the soft parts of a song are more emotionally intense. When you're singing soft, you have to be more intense. The intensity meter has to be ramped up there. Like it's the most intense part is the softest part of this piece. If you do that and said, I want you to pretend that this piece is you begging. Give them an action word. You begging for something here. You asking something that you cannot have. See what happens when you have that lens. Have them sing it as soft as they can without being breathy. And when they perform it, no matter what, like the first time they perform, you're like, yeah. Do you feel that subtle difference? That was amazing. That people out there in the audience who need to hear that somebody else is hurting or begging like they are, they need to hear that somebody else understands them. And you're going to be that gift to them. Wow. And if you do that, all of a sudden the buy-in again is there. The buy-in is there, and then they all of a sudden know why they're supposed to be soft there. If students don't know why they're singing soft or loud in place, it doesn't matter. They're not going to be good at it. But I find that when you teach them how to emotionally connect with a song first, over like, you should be softer here. Okay, his music's so soft, let's sing soft now. Like that goes out the window. It doesn't give the emotional effect that you want from a chorus in the first place. You want to be able to feel something when you're watching a chorus on stage, not be like sung to and told. Like it's like going to a conversation, right? If you're talking to somebody, said, hey, I need to talk to you. Okay, they said, I need to make sure that I'm going to tell you something. Okay, we'll talk later. No, I talk, you don't talk. It needs to be like a back and forth. So that said, really find those places where the students can feel that way. And that's even with crescendos and decrescendos, mezzo voces, right? You want to make sure that they understand what's going on there. And you want to make sure that they understand how to be able to connect to the music. That's the best way that you make a chorus that's already too good for you to direct. Understand their feelings. Go like, you're loud here. You're really loud. It's amazing. Why are you loud here? Could you imagine right here, it's a gospel piece or something, could you imagine like the heavens opening up right here and the best, most prophylactic thing that you forever, you've been praying, and finally it's answered for you. You see the light, you finally know what you need to do, you found your purpose. Can you sing it like that? Here we go, measure 23, here goes, and you bring them in there, boom, they're going to sound good, and they're going to sound so amazing, and they're fixing so many mechanical things that you can't fix on the spot right away. Always have your tool belt of things that you want to be able to direct. Of course, always know what pieces you're concentrating on. Always know and study the repertoire, and always make sure that the students and your director know. Have those connections with the director and be like, that I can really tell that they've like have sidebars sometimes when there's courses saying like directing. They're really doing some awesome stuff. And thank you so much for getting them to hear. You sidebar compliment directors as you're coaching and as you're being a vocal coach. And that lets you do whatever you want to do without them feeling threatened that like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to show me up. They're never going to love me ever again. You make sure everybody just feels that love. And that's, at the end of the day, here's the caveat and here's what you give. And of course, I'm not the park and be coaching this course. Anyway, so I'm going to caveat with this. After you do that and find the spots where the students can connect with it and they feel connected and they're doing the stuff awesome. By the way, if you're doing something bad and it's not working, abandon it and go somewhere else. Anyway, no, don't be egotistical. Like, well, you're not getting it. Be like, it's me. It's my fault as a coach. Here's how you lock it down. I know I'm rambling now. Here's how you lock it down and finally give the chorus, make them feel good. And you get everybody clapping and ramped up like, yeah, that was great. We did awesome today. You tell them, I want to tell you, you have no idea how many times that we've been in the audience and we've received feedback from people listening to you. And like, whether you feel comfortable enough to like pat the director on the back, like how long we've been out, like you have to fill that out, what kind of director it is and what type of feeling you have. Suggest, we've been out in the audience and here's what you say to the chorus that ended. You have no idea how many times we've been in the audience and a person has come up to us and said something like, I haven't smiled for 5 years since my husband died at Christmas. And I want to thank you tonight because I got to smile. And I've actually had this happen to me. Tell them something that you've experienced from somebody telling you about how much they enjoyed your performance if you ever had one with a chorus. Because you never know who you're going to be out there connecting to, saving, helping to smile. And that's a gift that you give to the rest of the world. And if you give a gift to the world in that manner, no matter who you know that you're touching lives or not, the world is going to give you a gift. And you all deserve it. I hear what's going on here. It gives me chills to think about all the great stuff you're doing. And I want to thank you for showing up today. I want to thank you for giving a gift to the world. And I want to thank you for allowing the world to give a gift back to you for singing today. You have touched me, and I'm going to carry this and be a gift for me for the rest of my life, my soul. Thank you. And start clapping, and then everybody else from then on will feel that you just loved on them. No matter where they're at, they're going to feel that. And that ending speech makes them feel great about being where they are, knowing that the next time they can show up in your director, making them feel good, clapping at their director, clapping at them. It's going to be just the most amazing thing ever capping off. You have to make sure that you conclude and close, no matter how far you are in the piece. And if you have like 3 or 4 minutes left over, don't be like, do anybody have questions? Like, can we end today's session with some of the success that you've had, and just, can I selfishly hear the good sound, like here, and see if you can perform it now, as if you're in the, like, these sections right here, and then end it out, and they're like, all right, everybody, thank you so much, like, and wave them off with a bang. And that is how you become a great director and vocal coach, and get called back, and give love to people, and love on everybody else. And when you do that, folks, the world will show back up for you. And that's when you get to feel as if you're complete. Thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm going to pull over and figure out how to stop the video appropriately, so I'm being safe.